Well, it's interesting. I've got a fifth question, which is actually talking about the performance that we did in front of the Queen, which will be a bit of a laugh
Oh yeah,
when we
yeah, yeah,
when we
sure, sure.
when we opened up the concert hall. Yeah,
No, I wasn't actually in that,
were you not in
but I
that?
was. No, I wasn't in the choir at that point. No, but I
Ah,
was actually at the concert. So don't worry, I was actually in the audience.
could you?
If that makes
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I joined just
Ah,
after that, but I was there and I did witness it. If that helps.
Drumback Studio Podcast.
hello everyone, and welcome to Drumbeg Studio Podcast with myself, Michael Lumby. How are we doing today? Are we doing well? I hope we are doing well today. I am really looking forward to this week's show. We've got a cracking special guest and some great music as well. In this week's show, we're going to be chatting to the amazing singer Liam Bonthrone. And not only is he an amazing singer, he's also only a tenor. I mean, the budget on this show is just incredible. We're going to have a couple of songs showcasing his amazing voice, including a classic Cosmic Stars track which he is featured on. But, so I don't completely bore the hell out of my non-classical listeners, this is Longstay telling you to pick up your air guitar with Moonlight.
Coming towards me with a black dress on. I'm a couple bars down and my mind is gone. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm thinking about falling in love. Half a dozen miles down the road. There's a long, long way to go till I get home. I've been at it all week, 11 to 5 and Saturday morning, I'm still alive. Whoa, 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 I'm thinking about giving it up. To look at her in my ride. I've been driving all through the night just to get home. And she says she's in used to drinking. I can tell she likes it in her spot. I said she knows what everybody's thinking. The pretty girl that turns with the moonlight. Drinking, I can tell she liked to see it in her smile. I said she knows what everybody.
Well, there you go. That was Longstay with Moonlight here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast. Longstay released that song Moonlight on all the digital media platforms of today on the 31st of January this year. So go now to Spotify or whatever you stream your music on to catch the full version of that cracking song. I think it's an amazing song. I love it. I hope it's going down well with your fans, guys, because it is a really good song. I'm really enjoying it. Love to go and see this song live at some point as well. Plus, since then, they've also released a couple of other singles as well. I believe they've got a new album on the way. So check out all the latest news on their music, gigs, and everything else that they're going to be up to over the next year and so on their Facebook page. Many thanks, guys, for letting me play that song on my show. Now it is time to find out this week's special guest. This week's special guest is singer and musician Liam Bonthrone. Liam, welcome to the show.
Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing yourself?
Great, thanks. Yes, it's great to be on the show and to have a chat with you about, well, I'll soon find out about what we're going to talk about.
What we're going to chat about. Yep. I have to say, at this point, I always talk about the weather, I have to admit. And compared to yesterday, it's a little bit cooler.
I was thinking that, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's like through in Glasgow, but it's a wee bit cooler today.
Well, the sun is out, but I would agree with you, it is a bit nippier. We did put the heating on this morning, so getting the most out of it. But generally, I think it's been quite nice.
It has
for
been.
The time of year.
Exactly, yeah. So, growing up, Liam, what was the young Liam Bonthrone dreaming of becoming when he was going to become an adult? What was the dreams flying around at that age?
Well, I think it wasn't as simple as an idea as that. I think as I was going through, in terms of finding music, was at the end of my primary school age, probably around age 10, 11, when I joined a choir, and that became going through my high school years, discovering new music, taking up the piano. I played violin at one point as well, and it was just a case of, as I went through it all, I became more inspired. And it wasn't really until the end of high school, when I took a year out, then I said, right, I definitely want to channel the singing work. That seemed to be the thing that was most natural.
Yeah.
And it was all a case of the people who inspired me. And I don't think there was ever a point in my much younger years when I kind of said, I want to be a professional musician. I just kind of learned to love it as I went along.
Yeah. So as you were saying, so you then mainly started taking the strong interests round about sort of high school time.
Yeah.
Was it maybe slightly later on that you started to think, hang on, this could actually be possibly a career option for me?
Yeah. In terms of my piano skills were sort of, I took lessons in high school with Maureen Rutherford, and I had quite a few inspirations. And for a while, I think the piano sort of took over.
Okay.
Technically, my voice broke when I was sort of 15.
Right.
And that took a while for things to negotiate, because I did sing when I was a lot younger, and we released a CD and all of that stuff, which I avoid looking at if I can. But anyway, as my voice took a while to develop into what it is now, so I naturally was focusing on piano. I sang in the Jamboree choir, of course, which we'll talk about a bit later.
We will do, yeah.
And it was only as I was we're doing a lot of singing in the choir, and as I was getting older, kind of late teens, was my voice kind of really starting to pick up for what I would say as a tenor instrument. Mm-hmm. It was a long journey, but it was really at the end of high school and I took my year out, and then I auditioned for the conservatoire in Glasgow, and it just kind of flowed from there. My voice sort of gradually improved. But it was quite a long journey from the changing voice into that new area of music.
Yeah. Liam, it's time for music, and you've very kindly brought a little tape with you of some of the past hits, shall we say, the Bonthrone hits. Should I get that one right? So what song are we going to hear? And I'll let you kindly introduce it if you want.
Sure. So this is a really short Italian song.
Okay.
This is a language that I seem to be singing most at the moment. Recordings was actually it's a couple of years old, and it's a really happy song, you'll be glad to know. And it's called Mattinata, which means morning. It's basically, just think of your average Italian what they might do when they wake up in the morning. And this song will just put that right in your mind. So, Mattinata.
L'aurora di bianco vestita, già l'uscio rischiudi al gran sol, di già con le rose sue dita, carezza dei fiori lo stuol, commosso dal fremito arcano, intorno il creator già par, e tu non ti resti ed invano mi sto qui dolente a cantar. Metti anche tu la veste bianca e schiudi l'uscio al tuo cantare, non sei, la luce manca, dove tu sei, nasce l'amor. Non sei, la luce manca, dove tu sei, nasce l'amor.
That was Liam Bonthrone here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast with Mattinata. For the listeners, Liam, who maybe don't know this, the two of us do have a connection with someone else, in fact my brother, and that's that you used to be part of the band Cosmic Stars. The band's still going today and me and my brother are still part of that. But let's talk about some of the good old times that we used to have back in the Cosmic Stars days when you were part of the band.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I first we all used to start hanging out. You guys had you'd sort of turned the dining room of your house into a kind of studio at that point, and that's where it kind of began, right, for you guys. And you let me hear these songs that you'd both been writing, and I had sort of minimal piano skills at that point. And I suppose I just started looking at the music and the chords you'd written and started joining in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we brought. Then, as the involvement became more, as we started doing more stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we did it with 2 keyboards, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And both, obviously, and Chris and I were mic'd, and that was when I think. But when in your house you moved the studio into the new part, the extension.
That's right. We then built what is Drumbeg Studios. We built that extension on, and as you say, we had much more space. You actually came in, you sat on the actual acoustic piano, which we designed the room around. You played that.
Great piano, yeah.
Yeah, and we had Christopher on the keyboard, and I would be on the drum kit. And as you say, yeah, at that point we started to, the early stages, you were, maybe you're right, maybe you didn't have as much of a skill with the writing that me and Christopher had somehow developed. And you said, we used to write some stuff. Now, there was one jamming session, which we were talking about this earlier, which I do believe is now true, where we actually came up and we wrote a song during our session, and that was...
Right.
The song was called More Than Ever. For the listeners, it's not actually out yet, or it hasn't been released really officially. But that was... I'm trying to remember back to that sort of experience, and...
Yeah, I think I can remember. So I was sort of coming out to visit. It must have been like a Saturday or something like that. I think that's what we usually did. And I think yourself and Christopher, you had an idea, or you'd started maybe something. Maybe it was had a few lines of lyrics, and then we just started sitting and trying out things, trying out new chords, and Then I think that's when we started writing new words. And I think that's something I had never really done at all.
Yes.
So it was a new experience.
Yes.
But it was it was a fun, and I was better at it than I thought I would have been. Probably because you were both there as well, and we were all kind of chipping in ideas. Was that how you remembered it?
Yes, very much. No, I was just going to say that I do remember changing, whether it was the lyrics to the chorus, but I do remember changing lyrics from the original idea, scrappy idea, that Christopher, I'm sure it was Christopher came up with it, but I do remember changing it. I definitely remember that, and I definitely remember playing around with different chords. I'm not sure how much of the chordal influence I had, but you're right, we had our own, and then once we almost got like a decent structure, we then sort of sat down in our own places and we started to almost sort of write our own pieces for the song, and that's how it sort of came together. And I suppose, thinking about the progression of the band, me and Chris were lucky enough to be offered a chance to record at Red Barn Studios. We got given a gift for that, and that was an incredible experience which the three of us got to do. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've only ever had an experience like that, I suppose, twice. So the first time was that when we were in our own sort of area, you know,
yes,
that was a real insight. I mean, I did it again quite recently with my good friend Kenneth McIver. We're recording an album of Scottish music for the Two Highland Lads, and that was the same sort of setup in different booths and then putting it together. So I'm glad that we had that experience as well. It kind of opened my eyes to a lot of new. So the way that you would put a CD together was like at the start mind-boggling, and the time it takes to really edit the tracks is crazy. But it was a great experience.
That's the Cosmic Stars here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast with Play Your Little Heart Out. And as me and Liam were chatting about earlier on, we recorded that song along with 3 others at Red Barn Studios, and that was our first sort of experience as a band in a recording studio environment. As I'm sure a lot of you might have been able to identify, that was Liam singing on the verse 2 of this song. He also features in the choruses throughout the whole of the song as well, and he also features a bit of solo piano, which you can hear some of the more higher parts that he does on his keyboard at the time. Incidentally, a wee story about this recording. When we came to record the chorus vocals, I remember me and Liam, who would have been singing two different harmonies, we kept on somehow switching. Now, I think it was myself who kept on switching. And I just remember every time we came to recording a chorus section, we'd record it a couple of times, and the engineer would say, "Oh, you guys have switched again." I think from then onwards, we then had to record harmonies for the end of verse 2 for the da-da-da-da parts. And I didn't feature on that bit because I think they thought that for some reason I wasn't grasping the harmonies very well. Obviously, maybe in my early stages of my music, I wasn't quite grasping them, but it was a fantastic and really fun experience, to say the least. Now it is time to head back to our special guest, Liam Bonthrone, for the final time today. So Liam, as you mentioned earlier on in the show, of the time and the experience that you've had studying at the Royal Conservatoire through in Glasgow.
Yes, right.
And you're currently studying down at the Guildhall, is that right?
That's
down in
correct,
London, yeah. Of Guildhall of Drama and Music. Better get the name right. From when you started in Glasgow to where you are now, tell me some of the experiences that you've had, singing experiences over the years.
I mean, it's been, I don't know where to start. I mean, in terms of my experience beforehand, were as part of the Jamboree Choir, we would do lots of concerts in the local area, and lots of functions and events, and there we covered a massive range of repertoire, classical stuff all the way through to folk music, Scottish, jazz, you name it. We had it in our concerts, and that gave me a great platform to develop some initial skills of presentation. So then when I got to Glasgow, it was obviously it was a classical course.
Okay.
So the idea was that you would work on your vocal technique, and then you would specialize in professional classical singing, mainly opera.
Right. Okay.
You go onto stage and you would work in that direction. But I mean, in Glasgow, studying, the initial steps into opera, I would sing lots of songs by different composers throughout the ages, really kind of immerse myself in basically the entire history of the vocal art form and try lots of different things. I mean, singing in different languages, that was something that was sort of nailed into us at an early stage, the correct phonetics, pronunciation. Did
you not study German at school, though?
Yeah, so I did German language at school. I think I was one of the last year groups at Perth High School to get German.
Right, okay.
And they generally brought in French, became across the board. But I really am thankful for deciding to do German at that point, as I would say for classical singing, in terms of working. Most of the work as an opera singer is in Germany, in the continent. And you're really expected to have your German down, which is why I'm trying to keep that going now, and really trying to make an effort with the German. But we're expected to sing in Italian, of course, you would imagine, with opera, and French, some Russian. So but in answer to your question, just singing to basically singing to large audiences, singing in different places across the world, classical music, and just witnessing my voice change in that journey has been real eye-opening, and you forget that you listen to old recordings of yourself and you kind of think, like, first of all, you're really embarrassed, you're like, what is that sound? And it's just get it off. But it just shows testament to the time that I had in Glasgow, and now that I'm in London, I'm really enjoying just that scene. It's kind of all happening there, right? I mean, a lot of things, especially for classical music, which is an art form in which we're all trying to fight for to keep going. There's a lot of opportunity in London, and it's great just to know that whatever you're really interested in, it's likely that there's going to be a great outlet for that.
Definitely, yeah. Now, Liam, I'm gonna say something on there which I've never got off my chest before, and probably never told. I have told a few people this, and I actually thought we had a wee connection with this, but it turns out we don't. But with reference back to the concert hall, I was lucky enough to get the experience of playing at the opening of the concert hall, and it was opened by the Queen. And unbeknown to me until now, apparently you were in the audience that day.
That's right. I obviously heard that you were performing, so that's why I was there. No, sadly, it wasn't the case. But
Yeah. Lumbie hadn't quite reached the heights by that point, I don't think.
yeah. So it's a funny story that. So I was at Knoll Primary School, and I think it was 2005 the concert hall opened.
My
Something
memories
like
of
that.
this are very misty. That's all I'm saying. But
Right. Well, let me enlighten you on that. So, so I can remember that. So the Queen was coming to Perth, right? So she happened to be her convoy was going to be coming past the front of Knoll School, along the Dundee Road. And I remember us getting this information at the school. So everyone from that school was out on the front lawn,
right.
waiting for her to pass. So she waved to us, and we all went crazy. And then we were all invited. I think all the primary schools were invited to the opening of the concert hall.
Okay.
And there was a choir came on, and they sang Highland Cathedral, that lovely Scots song, which turned out to be was the first inaugural performance of the Jamboree Choir,
Yes.
which you and Christopher were in. And that turned out to be where it all happened, where it all began for me. But
Yeah.
I just didn't know it at that point. I remember Edna Auld, who wonderfully has directed the choir and who I give thanks for my own journey. I remember seeing her standing conducting this sort of little group of singers with, I think I saw a picture. You're all wearing like little white T-shirts and this sort of tartan sash. I think it was something like that. And then you all met the Queen. I joined later, but sadly didn't really get to meet her then. But
I know. I mean, who would have thought it? I was performing in front of you. I think it should be the other way around the next time. But
no, well, but that was before anything. I think I played the violin at school, but there was never any talk of singing at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an experience that, as I was saying, I can't really remember much about. But I think from just using past experience, it's probably an experience which I probably got thrown into by my parents. But yeah, I mean, it is something to behold, to be able to say that you did it. Just need to make sure when I do bring it up in conversation, I don't tell people that I've forgotten about it. But I have to say, Liam, it's been fantastic getting you on the show. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today.
Thank you. It's been so great, actually. Just all these memories coming back to me. All good memories.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite the same as catching up in the pub, but that'll be done at some point. But no, incredible to hear about all the experiences that you've had and the incredible journey that you've been on. And thinking of the age that you are already, this could be doubling by the next time. Think about what you could be if I interview you down the line at the age of 40. But yeah, no, many thanks, and wishing you all the best. Thanks very much, Liam.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Well, there we go. As I always say, a big thank you to my special guest for this week, singer Liam Bonthrone. Liam, that was just incredible. I think we both had a fantastic time. Hope you guys, as the listeners, enjoyed listening to our conversation that we had. It was a great catch up, fantastic chat. So many happy memories to look back on, as Liam mentioned it as well. It was fantastic. All the best for your future, Liam. He is very much making his name in the operatic music scene as we speak, so keep your eyes peeled for this guy in the future. That's all we've got time for this week. Many thanks again for listening and for tuning in. Join me next time for my next special guest and for some more great music. Until then, have a good one. See ya.